You don't want to put your customers at risk for anything that you don't want coming back to your business, such as a lawsuit. Hey y'all, welcome back to the Curled. My name is Janelle and I am the founder and KEO for KULTURED LLC, and today I am back with another video. Today's video is part 2 of how I formulated the Lavender and Kukui Moisture Locking Oil, the best seller, fastest selling, and most reviewed product that I have in the Lavender collection. And so if you did not watch part 1, make sure you go back and you watch part 1, because that is where I show you how I formulated the product, the equipment that I use, and also the safety equipment that I use as well. But if you want to stick around and you want to watch part 2 first and then go back and watch part 1, that's fine by me. As normal, I don't want to keep you too long. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. In part 1 of the video, I showed you the safety equipment I use as far as masks, gloves, aprons, hairnets. You want to make sure that you also use that when you are filling up your bottles and your jars as well. You don't want to put your customers at risk for anything that you don't want coming back to your business, such as a lawsuit. So please make sure that you are always following all of your safety guidelines before and even after you are done formulating. Before I fill any bottles or jars, I always want to make sure that the bottles and jars are sanitary and that they are sterilized. You want to make sure that your bottles are clean. You never know what happened to them while they were being transported to you or while they were being manufactured. So you want to make sure that you get any dust, any hair, fingerprints, whatever. You want to make sure that all of that is off of those bottles and jars before you put your product in them. So I use Steramine tablets. I mentioned these Steramine tablets earlier in another video, so if you have not watched that video either, make sure that you go back and you take a look at that video so you know that you have all of the business and formulating essentials that you're going to need to make sure that your business runs properly. Also, while I am cleaning my bottles and jars, I always make sure that I have enough room to do so. Also make sure that I have paper towels laid out so that I do not spill anything. I also make sure that I have enough time in between sterilizing my bottles and filling up the jars. You want to give yourself at least 12 to 24 or 48 hours for your bottles and your jars and your lids to also dry in enough time. In order to fill my bottles effectively and to make sure that it is ready for purchase and for shipping, I make sure that I have these things on hand. I make sure that I have my filling machine. I also make sure that I have a scale, induction tabs, an induction machine, and also my labels. Now, you do not need an induction machine. I know that it is very expensive, and also so is a filler machine. There's different ways to go about filling your products and filling your jars and your bottles. You can use a funnel or you can use a syringe. Syringes are a little touch and go. I use them, but I do not reuse them. I throw them out after each use. Now, there are videos showing you how to properly clean your syringes so you can keep reusing them. I don't recommend it, but it is all up to you and your budget. Now, before I start to fill my bottles, I always make sure that the oil is in there first. I pour the oil in and then I start filling. Once I start filling, I make sure that I go slowly and carefully. You do not want to pull too fast and then cause yourself to spill any product, throwing off your batch size and your weight. I then take the bottle and I place it on the scale to make sure that it weighs the proper amount. The reason why I weigh my products is so that it comes out properly when I'm shipping, as far as cost of shipping and handling when a customer purchases an item. You also want to make sure you do this just so that every single bottle is the proper measurement and every single customer has the right amount of product in each jar. After I have filled all of the bottles, I then transfer the bottles onto another table, and this is where I will seal all of the bottles so that there's no leaks during transport or while they're sitting on the shelves either. You do not have to use a induction machine. They can be very costly. If I can find the one that I have, I will leave the links in the description box below. There are other ways that you can seal your bottles and make sure that there's no leaks during transport. A lot of people use electrical tape. You can use that. I've never had an issue with the induction machine. I've never had a customer reach out and say, hey, my bottle was broken when I found it or when it was sent to me, or it's been leaking while it was on its way here. I've never had that. And so me doing this is just a part of my quality assurance and my guarantee to my customers. Once all the bottles are sealed and the caps have been placed on, I then go ahead and do a little check around the entire bottle, make sure there's no leaks or no cracks in there. I also want to make sure that everything looks good. Make sure that the oil is its proper color. Now, the nickname for the Lavender and Kukui moisture locking oil is the liquid gold, and the reason why I call it that is because it's a gold color, and if it's not the proper color, then unfortunately I have to throw the batch away because something wasn't done properly. Now, luckily in part 1 of the video, I made sure that I went through the proper steps of making sure that the batch size was the proper amount or was the proper size, and I also made sure that all of the percentages and grams were correct, and so I never really have an issue of the color being off. So if you guys do not have some type of quality assurance put in place for your products, you want to make sure that you have that. You don't want your customers looking at all of the other products that a customer might have posted and say, you know what, mine looks a little different than hers. You want to make sure that every single bottle looks exactly correct. After I do my inspection of the bottles, I then go ahead and place the labels on there. A good rule of thumb for placing your labels as straight as possible is to follow the line that is on the bottle. There's a little seal on the side, and so I use that as a way to place the bottle straight and then wrap it all the way around so that each label end meets up perfectly. It will not always be perfect, however. There will be times where you have like a little air pocket in there, or there'll be times where it doesn't match up all the way. When you're doing it by hand, it is very difficult, and so there are machines to help you place the labels on there straight. As of right now, I am doing it by hand. That is okay. If you have to do it by hand, if you go ahead and you buy the machine, that's great as well. Okay, so we are at the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. It was another short video, but I am glad that I was able to show you guys how I formulate. If you would like to see how I formulate my other 2 products, then make sure that you leave a comment down below. Also, this is a time where I asked you to do something for me. I need you to hit that like button, subscribe, and also make sure you click the bell so you get notified every single time I post on this channel. And I'll be seeing you guys real soon. Thank you. Bye, y'all.